Hi, I'm Pat Snyder. I'm a dementia caregiver educator in North Carolina. And I want to talk to you today about the power of being positive on the dementia caregiver journey. After your loved one's diagnosis of dementia, you are likely overwhelmed with negative emotions. These emotions are your first hurdle to overcome, and they tend to be ongoing. Therefore, a commitment to use positive choices to overcome these negative feelings is a technique that will serve you well throughout your time as a dementia caregiver. Now, let's make something clear going in. Using a positive attitude to overcome a negative situation is not denial of that situation, but it's a conscious effort on your part to override its impact. I want to say that again. Using a positive attitude to overcome a negative situation is not denial of it, but a conscious effort on your part to override its impact. Now I want you to think about, just visualize in your mind that you're walking along this path and you're coming to a T intersection. And that T intersection represents the diagnosis of dementia. And you have a choice at that T intersection. You're either going to turn this way or you're going to turn this way. And there's a sign. And with an arrow pointing this way that says positive, and an arrow pointing this way that says negative. Now, you're going to have to take either one of those roads because you've come to this place in your journey and you have to either go the positive route or the negative route. Whichever one you take is going to be vital to your experience of this disease. Are you likely to have the same experience of your journey on each of these roads? I would argue with you that you will have an entirely different experience depending on which road you choose. And the sooner you choose that road, the more change you will experience one way or another on your journey. John was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia in 2007. So for 13 years, I have had contact with hundreds and hundreds of dementia caregivers in my volunteer work as a dementia caregiver educator. I've communicated with those people, and this communication has taught me without question that the choice that you will make of whether to take the positive road or the negative one is going to give you a very different experience of the disease. So I would encourage you, take the positive road. Take that positive road. Make it a conscious choice on your part. It will benefit you. It will benefit the person with the disease that you're taking care of. It will benefit your entire family and community by your choosing that road. Now, there are a number of ways to address this choice of being positive. It's going to take self-discipline on your part. It's going to take commitment to fight back an enemy. This dementia is an enemy, and it is trying to steal precious moments from your lives. And so you're going to have an opportunity to get some of those moments back or create new ones if you will choose to be positive. So making this choice often involves doing the opposite of what you're actually feeling initially in a moment. So first, identify what that negative feeling is. Learn to be somewhat reflective about what am I really feeling right now. I know it's bad, but can I get to the specific feeling? There is power in being able to identify what that feeling, what is that emotion. There's power there because it gives you then options about, okay, if it's this feeling, maybe I can do this. And let's talk about some examples of that. Because what you're going to do is identify the feeling, and then you're going to choose to go in the opposite direction. Something that's going to take you to the opposite place that feeling is. So here's some examples. Let's say you realize you're just feeling very, very sad. An option for you then is to, as quickly as possible, get on the phone. Try to spend some time with a friend who makes you laugh, someone who gives you a more positive perspective on things. But laughter is hugely important in this journey, and somebody who can make you laugh and take you away from where you are emotionally for a while in that sadness can turn that sadness away and limit the impact of the sadness, minimize it to some degree. Let's say there are times when you're just feeling empty. One of the things that you can do is to sit down at some point in your day, or right then when you're feeling it, and write down 3 things for which you are grateful. Make your mind and your thoughts go to, what am I grateful for? What is something in my life that I'm grateful for? I have a home. I often would say, and I would repeat this over and over again in my prayers when I would get ready to go to bed, go to sleep, and I would say, thank you, Lord, for a safe, warm, dry place to sleep. I mean, I knew I had that. I had a bed, and it was safe, and it was warm, and it was dry. Something as simple as that can remind you that, as my husband used to say, it could always be worse. And just remember that gratefulness will fill up that empty place or empty spot in you. And a gratefulness list, research has shown people who practice this discipline of making a gratitude list actually are healthier, they are happier. There is a physical impact in doing this. So a gratefulness list is something you can do if you're feeling empty. Let's say you're feeling anxious. There's just an anxiety type of feeling. There's a number of things that you can do for that. You can use aromatherapy, essential oils, like I used lavender a lot in my home. Figured out ways to put it in all kinds of things. For massages, for getting a foot rub. I would massage John's hands and his feet, and I'd use the lavender, and it would help me feel better too. Music that is calming. You may even need to get some medication to help you with anxiety. I know eventually I did that with the doctor. I had a very small dose of anti-anxiety medicine, and just having it in the medicine cabinet. Most of the time I did not use it, but knowing I had access to it when and if I needed it, it was a huge help to me. And I did use it a little bit. I would sometimes break even the smallest dose in half. And it would just help calm me. I did have to pay attention to not taking it all the time. I had to limit it because I would start feeling nervous after about 3 days if I took the full pill 3 days in a row. It was like, okay. And I'd have to back off, use other techniques, and then if I needed it again, I would. So you have to manage these things and keep things balanced. One of the simplest techniques is, if I was feeling angry, is simply the deep breaths. And I want you to practice it with me right now. I want you to take a deep breath through your nose, hold it, and then slowly release it. Let's do it together. Now let yourself feel the little subtle difference in your body. Do that 3 times. And just calm yourself down. You're resetting your feelings, your emotions, the psychological impact of what just happened. You're letting yourself reset. So deep breathing with anger or anxiousness or frustration can be very, very helpful. If you're feeling fearful of the future, something you can do that my counselor, John, and I went to counselor for years, and then when he couldn't go anymore, I continued to go. And he kept teaching us, and kept teaching me about focusing on this moment. It's called mindfulness. It's not anything fancy, but the idea behind it is this. What's happened in the past, we really cannot change. There's nothing we can do, and it only exists now in our memory, in our mind. So it's not real for what is happening right now. What's happening in the future that we anticipate, that we can become very fearful about, is very unlikely to happen and unfold in the way we imagine. It very often doesn't. And so that really isn't real either. It's in our imagination. But what is right now is very real, and we do have a lot of control over that because we have choices in right now. It's real. We can make this choice or this choice. And so remembering to stay in the moment and to think, okay, what can I do? What can I do to make this better? That has tremendous power if you remember that it does belong to you, that we can control quite often what we are choosing to do in any moment. Those kinds of things are very helpful things, and they are examples of how you can use positivity, being proactive and being positive, to change your journey, to soften your journey, to make it more gentle. These kinds of choices may sound and feel a little bit simplistic. They may feel a little artificial when you first start to practice them, but over time, you will begin to feel the benefit of not allowing your negative emotions to swamp you, to keep you feeling like you're in a slump of inactivity, helplessness. You begin to feel empowered. You begin to feel purposeful in your role. You begin to see the impact of positive choices in making your day better. Then you're going to realize that your positive choices do have a profound impact on your loved one's experience of the disease, your experience of this journey, and those around you who know and love you. You can make a huge difference by being positive. And I want to thank you for what you do every day, and I hope you will make a choice today to be more positive and see what that impact can be. Thank you for your time.